Cause I'm about that. Cause I'm about that.
You know, just finding where my passion is, and that, like, you know, it's now or never. You either do it now or it's never going to happen. There's no guarantee that there is ever going to be tomorrow.
Try to get them funds, I'm killing the mic just like I ran the jewels in. Y'all gonna get done.
If you're gonna go through life, you might as well do something you love that impacts other people in a positive way. This is a podcast all about business, entrepreneurship, making your passion your paycheck, people who just want to take control and kick life square in the ass. On today's episode of the Now or Never podcast, we have special guest Mike Giovanni, one of my best, most personal, close friends I've had for over 20 years now. Mike is the majority owner of Touch and Tan and its software. Mike and I started our first companies together, and this is a man that truly embodies the meaning of the word hustle and making your passion your paycheck. We got Mike Giovanni. The man, the myth, the legend himself. How we doing? Get that radio voice. Look at you.
How you doing?
Yeah, no, that's a different kind of voice. That's a different kind of industry completely. We won't talk about that. This is PG-13 Mike.
Oh, okay.
So Mike is the majority owner now.
Yes.
Touch and Tan in Columbus.
Well, we have one in Columbus and Gretna and Omaha.
Omaha.
Yes.
And it's probably the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. So here's the thing. Tanning, which is phenomenal. I love it. It's healthy. I'm a little chubby right now, but tan fat's better than white fat is what I always say. But it's always convenience. I got 6 kids. I work 80 hours a week. So Mike has a 24-hour access tanning joint. Fingerprint on the door, little code, you're in. Fingerprint on the screen, touch screen, pick your bed, go. You get the spray tan off hours. You do it on your convenience.
Yep.
And which is just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And then they're not the junk beds. They're not you're not talking the two, like you got the best of the best. I mean, First time I went into your stand up, I'm like, where's the rest of the walls? Like, this is pressurized.
Well, you thought you couldn't fit in it. I was like, I got something that's couldn't fit you.
I thought I was pretty big, and I walked in, and I'm like, well, all the 25 fans they're nice. They're blowing in areas I didn't know, but yeah, right, you know, and it's fantastic. So talk about how long you've been doing that now. What's the first one?
We're on over 6 years now. So actually the software got started. So my business partner, Chuck, he started the software where we're over, I think, 48 states now. What it started, it's called Touch and Tan Software. And then I'm from Omaha. I'm an Omaha boy, and I wanted to start one in Omaha. And I told him, hey, let's do it. And we got this one started about 6 years ago, the Omaha location off 156 in Maple there. And then ever since that grew, and we did the Gretna and then Columbus, and it's awesome, dude. But we are staffed during regular staffed hours. Yeah. And then you get that 24-hour access for convenience. So, But I mean, going back with the software, it really started the whole thing. I mean, Chuck had a vision on that. And I think we went to Wayne State together, and they started their software in Wayne, and then they sold that salon.
Tell them how we met Chuck. Tell them how we met Chuck.
Well, we met Chuck. He used to own a club, which they tore that down.
They tore it down.
Yeah,
and that's how old we are. Now, places we used to live and businesses we used to work at are now parking lots.
Right.
But Chuck ran and owned Riley's
Cafe,
Convention Center and bar, which I understand Wayne State College, not a big town.
Yeah.
And they had teen night, which you go below 21 and go to a dance club in Wayne, Nebraska.
Right.
But there's a lot of people from out of town, so that's when you go dance. You know, you gotta go dance. so Mike was doing. I cooked there. I had bartended, did security. Mike was head of security there. That's how we met Chuck. And it's funny to look fast forward all these years later. Now he's the developer of this software, and you guys own tanning joints together. That's just crazy. Like, how full circle.
It's weird how it goes. So yeah, he sold that place. And I mean, we had a lawn service together. I mean, we started our lawn service.
Okay. So how Mike and I actually began business together. I was pretty well homeless at 19.
All right.
And
I left home at 18.
Yeah. And we played football together. So I'm working 3 jobs, living in the Oldsmobile, finally getting an apartment above the bar. Right. And then up comes this.
I think you broke that building too.
I broke that building. They condemned that building after I lived there. But so then up comes Mike Giovanni on his recruiting trip.
That's right. I was in high school.
He was in high school, and I was throwing a party. Of course, there was no underage drinking going on at this party.
No.
It's $5 a head, but I had to make rent. So, anyways, and I met this crazy Italian kid who ends up going to school there. I knew your sister.
All right.
And I ended up coming to school there, and we just became friends immediately.
Yeah,
and
we hit it off.
Like a year later, I'm not sure whose idea it was. I came up with the name. I'm taking credit for that.
I think you got the name, but I was like, let's do something this summer because I never went back home. I mean, when I left home at 18, I never moved back. So I was like, I'm up in Wayne. We were trained for football anyway, and I was like, let's get like a summer job.
And I finally had a place to live in, and it wasn't my car, so I was like, I gotta make that scratch. And so we started a business called Poor College Kids Lawn Service because we thought the name was self-explanatory. All right, we got a mower from my dad and a broken up truck trailer. I had an 86 Custom Deluxe Chevy. I had a sweet Bondo job on the side. But, yeah. So we ended up like, how do we get clients? Because there wasn't social media yet.
No.
So we decided to break into the computer lab at Wayne State College. I can say this now. I think the statute of limitations is over.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we were going to college at that point. Yeah, we were still going to college.
I was enrolled.
Yeah, we were enrolled.
So we broke in the computer lab when nobody was around and printed off like 600 flyers that said Poor College Kids Lawn Service. Call this guy, and I put Mike Giovanni's cell phone number on it and started shoving them illegally into mailboxes. I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is up on that too.
We're good.
Around Norfolk and Wayne. And I'm getting calls. And then Mike's the ultimate negotiator. Went to his doctor's house in Norfolk. And he goes, well, if I let you use my riding lawnmower, we're both like, yeah, sit down and make money. Mike's like, $35, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Guy takes it. Next thing we got lawn service mowing a trailer court downtown Norfolk that no longer exists. I'm pretty sure I found OJ's other glove and Jimmy Hoffa buried
Careful
back
the
there.
needles.
The needles were kicking off with a lawnmower. Kid you not.
No, there was a dead dog underneath that one trailer. We had a call on that. That was crazy.
Mike and I make our first $90 our first day. Go back to the bar that Chuck owned. That we ended up working for. We're like, we're buying a round on the round of the bars on us. They go, that'd be $100. I go, all right, take those 3 guys off because we only got $95.
Nobody likes those guys anyway.
They're not that nice. And that was Poor College Kids Lawn Service.
Yeah.
We actually had no way of getting rid of the grass, so we used to do is just put the trailer gate down, then drive down the back
country roads behind
Norfolk at 60 miles an hour until the grass was gone.
I think that's how fast that truck went.
That's entrepreneur 101 right there. Right. Figure out a way to make it happen, but. And fast forward here 20 years later.
God, it has been 20 years.
I know.
It's crazy.
And now you're doing the thing. You got 3 separate locations.
Yeah.
And you even bought out your investors, some of your other partners this year.
Right, so this year. I've been working on it for about 2 years, just financing, all that stuff, because it's not easy. Jumping through the hoops, like I think we talked on the last deal and talking to you about it. It takes a process, and it's tough sometimes, and it's stressful. This last go around, usually it's pretty smooth. This last go around, almost everything went wrong.
Yeah.
On mine, it was just, I try to, you got to file all the paperwork and stay in Nebraska, get my EIN number, federal government, IRS, you got to take care of that first. And it just, with multiple locations, they weren't getting it. They weren't understanding it because I put it on all under one, EIN number, and it's just more and more and more and more and more, and it's tough. And
I think we'll touch a little bit on that for a little bit. Just the amount of paperwork and bull that we have to deal with being independent business owners, corporations, taxes. I mean, I think I counted at one point, and on a 3-year rotation in state of Nebraska, we will pay taxes. I kid you not, 77 times.
Mm-hmm. I believe it. 100%.
And it's just, and I don't even, and I've even called up the state just because I was curious previously, like, what does this actually go to?
Right.
And they don't know.
They don't know.
$25 here for this registration of that, a $13 registration of this. And it's not like it's a ton of here and there, but it's just a lot of work. And we've called the state now to change one of our sales tax licensing numbers for our downtown to Exarban location. I shit you not, 25 times. And it's still wrong. So I said, well, I'm still paying them. So no matter what, they're getting their money. I figured I can't get in that much trouble.
That's the biggest thing they look at.
No, yeah, exactly. Did they send us a check? Yeah, they did. But it is cumbersome. And I think that's one of the things that these young entrepreneurs who listen to this kind of stuff, to understand that it's not just, you can't be just, a 3-part person, I call it. You can't just say, okay, I can buy this, I can sell it here and make this. There's a lot of moving parts to being an entrepreneur that you need to understand. And there's no real book per se that's going to explain this. That's what I'm hoping this podcast can do. So first of all, like with business stuff, understand that you're going to have to be your own accountant, your own tax person.
Going through it right now.
You're going to have to be your own real estate advisor. You're going to have to be your own banking advisor. You're going to be your own advertiser, your own social media account. You're going to be wearing 25 hats, and you may not be comfortable with it. And guess what? Nobody is. I failed accounting in college 3 times. This is no bullshit. Mike knows this. I signed up for accounting 1 for the 3rd time. Same professor was like, "Oh my God." He goes, "Listen, I'll give you a C not to come back." I said, "I paid for this 3 times. I'm not leaving here without a B."
All right.
He gave me a B and I walked out the door. That's how I got past accounting 1 at Wayne State College. I don't care. I'm pretty sure the guy's dead by now, so it's all right.
Right.
So, and now I do accounting 4 to 5 hours a day for a company that's my size with 25 locations but I had to learn it all. But it's a lot different when it's your dollars on the table. It's a different level of importance. You'll figure it out.
Well, it's your skin in the game too, and it's your life. I mean, it's being a captain of your own ship, like you said. It's wearing 25 hats, doing everything. There's nobody above you. You know, I mean, besides the government and the IRS that wants their money paid to them. I mean, that should be first.
Yeah, of course. You hear that, IRS?
Right.
Just make sure don't out of Giovanni or myself. Please, thank you. I think that, and then too, it's like, I figured, because I didn't come from a trust fund. My parents, God love them. They're great people. They when you're 18, you're out the nest, and and a lot of times I asked for help. They told me no, and looking back now, it's the best thing they ever did for me.
Oh, absolutely.
I had to learn how to figure it out. You can't be a CEO of something if you can't figure it out your damn self. You know, because when you're the boss, I always tell people, especially when they become franchisees, is you're used to always having a boss. Like, hey, boss, what do I do? And then when you own your first shop or your first business, you turn around and realize there's no one there to tell you what to do. You got to figure it out. And even when you screw up, I just pretend like I meant to do it, and just take my learning and lesson. But it's like the financing portion, like you and I talked about. It's not easy, and it's
tough.
And listen, I'll give my first piece and let you touch on this.
Yeah,
just avoid the big banks completely. Because one, especially here in the Midwest, and there's a lot of kids right now that are trying to be entrepreneurs in the Midwest, and it's just different here. What things cost here are different, and it's funny. So if you go to one of these bigger banks and you say, "Hey, here's my business plan. Here's what I'm doing," they're going to call somebody in Minneapolis or New York or Los Angeles who doesn't understand, who don't get how we do things,
right?
And they're telling you no. So my suggestion is just avoid the big banks completely.
I got my first loan from a small bank, and I sat down with her and told her. I mean, I put everything I had, my cars, whatever I owned, shirt off my back. And I was like, just give me a chance. Just please give me this money. And they took a chance on it, and that's what they did. I mean, they took a chance, and I really needed that money. I needed that capital, just get my foot in the door, get that percentage, get the skin of the game. And, from there, I am where I am now. So, but I went to the big banks first, just like you did. And I mean, they looked at me like, good luck, kid. And it's tough. It
is. I mean, and you're going to get a lot more no's before you get a yes. It was the story. I think Tony Robbins told the story, and I used to listen to my Tony Robbins stuff. We get pumped up, And the story of Colonel Sanders. All right, so the guy was 60, and I'm going to screw this up somewhat. Colonel Sanders. So Colonel Sanders retired at 65, got his first Social Security check for like $100 and some bucks, and said, "This sucks." And the guy, "What do I have?" I have a great chicken recipe. So he went around to all these different chicken restaurants through the South and said, "Listen, I don't want you to buy it from me. I just want you to give me a piece of the profits for every piece of chicken you sell my recipe." And what do you think people said? I mean, everybody's like, "No, you're like Santa Claus of the summer. Get out of here."
Right.
The thing is, he got 1,009 no's before he got his first yes.
I believe it.
How many people have the fortitude and the determination to go even after they get 10 no's? 1,000? I would say, like, for me, like, I'm pretty determining, like 500. If I had 1,000, I'd be like, all right, I got to find a new plan. Where's the new plan?
This isn't going to work.
This isn't working. And you hit it on 1,010.
Right.
And now everybody knows the Colonel Sanders image. They know what Kentucky Fried Chicken
KFC,
is. KFC, baby. I mean, I got this back love handle is completely responsible for KFC.
Being KFC for years.
Yeah, and they don't need to sponsor me because I'm already fat enough. But but if you want to throw a check for this marketing, you can. But it's that kind of tenacity that it takes to really run a business. Is that you just figure out how to do it and just don't stop. And I think that's where a lot of people just get frustrated, especially with financing, for instance. Like, it's just, I have a lot of my cash accounts and stuff going. I got to. Through all my businesses, a couple $1 million gross. No, I don't make that. Just make sure that's very evident. I have 6 kids, so I'm not rich.
Uncle Tim over here.
The Bank of Rex America is closed. But I have all this money flowing through U.S. Bank, and they couldn't give me a loan for my gym. Yeah. I'm like, and we're not talking a huge loan.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big loan, but don't get me wrong, but it's not. We're not talking. It's not $500,000. It wasn't even $200,000.
Right.
I mean, in fact, the first loan was even $100,000.
Right.
And they said no. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right.
Like I've got this much going, like, I'm good for it, but
Right.
I'm considered self-employed, so I'm riskier.
No, absolutely.
So I go to this locally owned bank here in town, Access Bank, and never met them 2 ways to Sunday. And they basically like, listen, we want you to move some of your accounts over to our bank.
Right.
I go, so you want my business? He's like, yeah. He goes, we'll sign this.
All day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, all
I'm
day.
like, okay, so yeah, they've earned my business. So I'm slowly transitioning because you know what? And I'm just crazy enough. And I am talking to the guy that we rent our building from, where our second location, very convenient, 24-hour access, Iron Heaven Gym, 132nd Chandler Road.
Which is doing very well.
Which is doing very well. I did bigger than my first location, which is why we're expanding. But anyways, the guy that owns the building is my neighbor. And I'm talking to him as we're renting the spot, and he goes, oh, I've never been able to get a loan. This guy's in his 50s, maybe 60s, and does very well, as millions of dollars in commercial property. Said he's never been able to get a loan through a big bank ever. He has to go to all locally owned banks. And I'm like, guys, it doesn't get better.
Sad,
I just figured eventually, like, I would be now, quote unquote, credit worthy enough to go to a big bank. No, it's just, and so I see all these kids like, well, I went to, this bank, that, and the other, the ones you see on TV. Don't. Just absolutely don't. Don't even waste your time. And you may get 10 no's. But, when you're going to a small bank, you're talking to a human being.
For sure.
Who answers the thing that day.
For sure.
And you can sell them on who you are. Mm-hmm. That's why I said about sales. Mm-hmm. Sales is everything. Whether it's your product, place, or service you're selling, or yourself to a banker. Mm-hmm. Or
I love chasing that first sale too.
Oh yeah,
for the day, first sale of the day. I love chasing it.
And I know, and so we had trouble getting financing for our second gym location, and until I went back to the same. I did stupid. I went to different banks, and I went back to my original bank, and my business partners were like, "It's not going to happen." I go, "Oh no, I will will this into fruition." I am. Trust me. Look at my wife. She's way out of my league. If anything, I'm persistent. I'm persistent, and I'm funny. So that's all I got going for me. Like I told her the day we got married, this is the best I will ever look. But I get funnier with time.
Right.
So, but it's and in the bank, the same thing with the business. Just said you gotta stay tenacious. You gotta stay on the ball. You gotta go after it. You know what I mean? Like
you can't quit. I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, even just being self-employed, you can't quit. I mean, even trying to buy a house. I refinanced my house not too long ago, and it's like you put you're self-employed. And it's like, okay, and it throws up red flags and this, that for the big banks. And, it's just, you can't quit on it if that's what you want to do. And you gotta, but you have to have that drive to do it.
So Brittany and I mean, she was working as an accountant, and I've been the CEO of we're a corporation, been over 9 years. We do decently well financially. And then it took us 4 months to close on our house because they still consider me self-employed and it's risky. And then we ended up having to do an FHA loan, right?
Okay. Yep.
Which I was okay with because I put less money down.
Right.
And,
that's good.
But then they denied our loan because there was the deck was falling apart.
Oh,
because the FHA loan is perfect, right?
Yeah.
This sounds.
Your driveway can't be
a bunch of you guys probably listening are
up.
probably like, "Why am I listening to this?" It's because this is one of those side effects of being a business owner that you're going to deal with. It's harder to get car loans. It's harder to get home loans because you're riskier. So I ended up going to the house I didn't own on a Sunday afternoon with our buddy Ben. My wife's painting the deck, and we built new stairs for a house I didn't even own. Found the home inspector on Facebook, told him who I was, sold him
Social
on
media.
the fact to go. And a realtor helped. Tony is awesome.
All right.
She helped us. We got a hold of him and he go back and inspect this son of a bitch tomorrow.
All right. Do it.
And because I couldn't close on my gym loan until my home loan closed.
Absolutely.
So he goes, how'd you find me? I'm like, Facebook, bro. And he went back next day, home loans approved for a deck that I built on a house that I don't own and painted.
That's the house you live in now?
That's the house I live in now, which is why I'll die there. I'm never moving. But that's just one of the side effects of being a business owner. And I know there's a lot of, business owners out there you see driving the flashy cars and all that stuff. And here's my 2 cents. If that's your thing, that's cool. I'm not saying it's not.
You got it.
But I've seen so many businesses fail, and you can attest to this, because they did really well 1 or 2 months, went out and bought that Hummer. Month 3 didn't go so well. And so they had to make the Hummer payment and didn't put money back in their biz.
Well, it's not, I tell you this, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. How long you want to go for. You know what I mean? People see that fast cash, see it, business is good. What happens if you have a down year? What happens if you have a fire? What happens if you, this, that, and the other thing? Then you got to deal with insurance companies. What's happening if you got business loans out? You got to pay those business loans. You got to pay this. If you have a whole bunch of employees, like you said, you got over 50 employees, which is awesome, man. Helping all those people out with your idea. Yeah. That's the American dream.
Well, we explain the idea though. Like everyone thought we were insane. So, I mean, your dad was pretty cool about shit. Papa Gio was like, poor college lawn service. Smart idea, like the name. I'm like, and I took the name, but, you know, my business plan, the highest grade I ever got on this in college was a D. Literally. And so when, you know, fast forward, God, 12 years later, and I won the Entrepreneur of the Year award.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I have it still in my office. Big old D marked on it too. Just like, remember this? You know, and it was funny. All these CEOs of these banks and these other companies came up to me. There was 800 people there.
They want to be your friend. They want to be your friend now.
They were cool, but they were all they want to be my friend. They were all like, yeah, that's what happened to me in college. One guy's like, I flunked out twice before I finally got my degree.
For sure.
And that's something else that we've talked about with Sean and Mindy about, you know, yeah, college is great for experience. But in business, I don't believe the 4-year degree is worth what you pay for it in business, because you cannot measure tenacity and strength. You cannot measure determination with a piece of paper that it requires. Like, you can have all the master degrees you want, but do you have the work and grit and determination to go to that 1010th call like Colonel Sanders does?
For sure.
That cannot be measured with something. I don't think. And honestly, like, here's my thing with YouTube today. Man, if I don't know how to do something on QuickBooks, I look it up on YouTube.
Oh, dude, YouTube! I took my wife's car apart on YouTube to change lights. You got to take the whole.
Sarah let you do that?
Man, what's she gonna do? Do it herself?
True.
You know, she's like, hey, my headlights are out. You know, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, okay, well, I became a mechanic in about 6 minutes on a YouTube video. Hopefully I can put this thing back together. I mean, hopefully they have a video how to put it back together. But
that's the next video.
YouTube's nice though, no, for sure.
But I think it's you have the ability, like, whether you come from money or not.
For sure.
I actually find that people younger entrepreneurs who don't come from money, they have a different drive that you just don't see from somebody who's had it handed to them. Like, I hope to give my kids a better leg up in life, but I will not give them a handout.
Absolutely.
The only handout that Lexi got was a free rental in this office. She got the smallest one too,
which is awesome.
Where she can have a desk and stuff.
Which is awesome.
She's earned all that on her own at 19, and I remember people.
And her business. What's her business?
Shop Alana. Yeah. She's an online boutique. She's on Instagram and Facebook. First day she opened 2 weeks ago. First orders from Vegas. She got people flying from Belgium and France. And I'm like,
so she's reaching out.
I'm like, get your social media already kicks my ass.
Yeah, you should start charging her rent, man.
I'm going to. I saw her bank account last week. She owes me some money.
Yeah,
but but that's the thing. She has the pride too that she's earned it.
Right.
For
sure.
I think
it's not. She's got to work hard for it. You know.
But I think that's the other thing is that we understand the importance of every customer is somebody who allows us to put food on the table for the family.
Absolutely.
And it really is. And I think that's the thing is it's been, I think small business owners and people understand the small businesses. Like, listen, if I need the sales to be there to pay the bills at the end of the month, it's a small business. Mm-hmm. This isn't a publicly traded shares company where some CEOs with a golden parachute and worried about getting the 6th vacation home. Like, you and me are just putting our kids in school and
living, paying bills, like you said, paying bills, trying to get ahead, you know. You never know with your next thing. And then, I mean, for me and you, obviously, where you're at is you get hungry. You know, you get that, you accomplish that, and then it's like, let's keep going. So when you do a new adventure, guess what? That takes time and money.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
my thing is, too, like, we also have to deal with the constant fear that something's going to change in our business platform because there's regulation. Now, understand this podcast real quick. This is not going to get political because I don't do political.
No.
You're never going to convince somebody of any political point on any form of social media ever. So if all you people could listen to that, stop posting that shit on Facebook, that'd be great. But anyways, it does affect us because it is something that I've worked very hard for in my life is to own a nutrition company. And right now the FDA is banning 2 more ingredients. I could give my theories as to why, but I don't want to get investigated. It doesn't. But it's just like all of a sudden, okay, now it's like, how do I play damage control? What do I do next? And that is like you're dealing with taxes on tanning.
Well, I'm dealing with a couple things. It's taxes and regulations, just like you. Everything with UV, I have to pay 10% taxes, which it's fine. It is what it is, but it used to be 17%, because you had to take state tax on that. So, I mean, the consumer, it's tough on them. As being a consumer, it's like, I got to charge you 17% tax. Not only that is the regulations. I mean, for me, it's an individual basis. I mean, I'm here to help people. I have people of all ages. For example, I had an older lady that couldn't get surgery because her vitamin D level was so low. Yeah. And she went to her doctor, and her doctor recommended join a tanning salon. And she said she's never done this, that, and the other thing. She did 1 month. She was able to get her surgery.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have some stories for you, Tim, that it can make you laugh or cry. I mean, all the way. Basically, they want to regulate things all the way and not give individual choice to people that need it for health benefits or whatever it be.
And that's the same with mine. And I get that. And I get that people are coming I like to think the best people, like they're coming from a good place, what they're attempting to do, but it's exactly the opposite. So they're banning things that deal with stress levels and cortisol. And, I'm a stressed person, so I take these products, and I get what they're doing. I understand the cause behind it. I think there needs to be more regulation in my industry as far as keeping the bad guys out, but you're causing damage to the good guys.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that, like the FDA, and I'll say it, like 2016, 2015 was the U.S. Census data, over 500,000 people died from FDA-approved drugs, and 0 died from supplements or herbs at all. So who are you really protecting? I get your point. And I get that some of those drugs, there's a cliche in there. Granted, those are life-saving drugs. I get it. But I have the ability to want to make myself healthier and happier. I should be ability to do so. And it's that. But the thing is, I also understand is that when businesses like ours are competing against each other and the big conglomerates, they want small business because we employ the most people.
Absolutely. That's a proven fact.
And I'm trying to compete against the internet. The more taxes and stuff you put on me, where I'm playing by the rules because I'm a physical location. I'm paying employees. I'm paying real estate taxes. I'm paying rents. I'm the maintenance guy. The property company getting paid. My neighbors are getting business off of me. And right now you're amidst this retail apocalypse in the United States where you have these major chains closing all over the place.
Oh, it's crazy.
And they're making it harder for us to compete with the storefront with the more and more regulation and taxes they put on us, where people a lot of times online aren't playing by the same rules. No, because they're hard you can't find them. You know what I mean? So, and then you're dealing with the fact that it is hard on the consumer. Like there's a budget. People have budgets. And tanning is not a necessity.
It's not. No, it's a choice.
But I think at the same point, it should be in my aspect. Taking vitamins and supplements and being healthy, and a gym membership like my Iron Heaven gyms, and a tanning membership like at Touch and Tan. It is because I believe the biggest disease we face in this country is depression and obesity, and bad, poor self-image, more than anything else. That's it. And the look good, feel good,
feel good,
expression for a reason. And if you can see the power in someone's eyes when they've lost weight, their color looks good, they got the right clothes on for a job interview, getting over a divorce or a financial reversal, like that's huge. It's empowering, and that's every day. Like look good, feel good, legitimately is an expression for a reason, and they combat that. And the simple fact is, I'd rather go lose some weight, get a nice little color in my skin, as you can tell I need it, and look good and get that confidence before I go to a speaking engagement versus taking a drug.
It's a state of mind, right?
A state of mind, you know what I mean? And I think that's why I like this industry so much.
Well, in my industry, huge is seasonal affection disorder. We call it SAD. And we're just kind of getting over it. Actually, in Nebraska, it prolonged almost into March. We're almost like a month behind normally because, the weather. And people come in and they're not just getting prescribed, antidepressants anymore. Their doctors are saying, hey, you need light therapy. Go get a tanning salon, even if it's going in 2-3 times a week, just to help with that. We see that. I'm starting to see that more. All ages. But that's a state of mind. They're not necessarily doing it just for color. They're doing it for their mind, for their body. They could feel good.
So, what would you say? We'll go back to the business portion. What would you say is the number one advantage of being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, being your own boss?
Signing your own paychecks, knowing everything is on me. For me, I like being in control. It's a control thing for me. I like knowing my destiny. I like working hard. For me, I put in 80 hours, 70 hours, 60 hours. Every day is kind of different, but providing jobs for people, working my butt off, and just having that ability to know as much work I put in, I'm going to get that in return. What I mean? Don't get me wrong. I've had jobs working for the man, but it's the stability. You don't know. I've had a boss that I think he was bipolar. Every day was, some days I was walking on eggshells. It was good money. I made good money, had good insurance, had good benefits, this, that, and the other thing. Hated my job. Yeah. So, for me, I have a long-term goal. It's a day-to-day. Everything's kind of different in my world. My time management. There are tough things. Yeah. Time management and suffering, but for me, I like being in control. I like being in control of my destiny. I like being in control of my life. I like managing my people. I've been managed. managing's a lot better for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's it. I think I'm allowed, I can go earn as much as I want based on the sweat of my own back. There is no limit. I may work 80 hours a week, but I can take that 2 hours off on was it May, whatever it is, because I'm going to be the chaperone to the zoo for the kindergarten field trip.
Right.
Be room mom number 6 because I can go do that and I can just work it around. Today's a 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. night for me. Right. But it's because I want to. If I didn't want to, I wouldn't do it. I could go get a job doing whatever I want. But and I probably get paid better than I probably get paid right now. But I've the destiny in my own hands. I agree with 100%.
You know what I mean?
can be the kind of dad and kind of husband I want to be based on the schedule I make for myself. And my kids get to see me work hard, but I get to help people feel better about themselves. And that's a huge, it's very satisfying, fulfilling to me that I've been able to help people be healthy. And that's why I think I'm so attracted to the health and fitness industry between Rexy's Nutrition and Iron Heaven Gyms and, helping out with the protein popcorn, Optimal Performance Popcorn.
Yeah, that was
BHI.
good, by the way.
Good right now, right?
Dude.
And it's just to be able to involve with that. So I'm just addicted to the health industry because I want people to have that empowerment, I think, as much as anything else. And I like to help. And being Rexy's franchising, the reason that I started franchising these stores off, and we can use this for a soundbite for the next franchising video, but is that I like to help other people become business owners. Some of my best franchisees are guys who worked for me. Right. And so we took over Kearney a year and a half ago, got the store back up, doing well. Got this young kid named Brandon, helped me build the store. He's awesome. So I'm going to personally help him finance that store so he can own it. Right. One, it's easier for me time management wise. And two, he's earned it. Yeah, he's never gonna have the money to really put down on it. So I'm helping him with the bank right now, make it happen. I'm giving him his entire franchise fee as earned credit, like sweat equity, because he built it, And that's something else. I'm going with our franchise attorneys right now down to Scottsdale, and we're kind of going back and forth as I refile my franchise disclosure documents. And our franchise fee was $25,000 before. Right. And if you own multiple stores, it kept going down. Right. Most people in my industry were $50,000, $60,000, $75,000. Blah blah blah. I'm actually lowering mine, even though I'm more reputable now. Mm-hmm. Even though I have way bigger brand name now than I ever have, I'm actually going from 25,000 down to 15. Awesome. Because why? Because I want more of the hustlers. I believe having that big chunk of change up front is a roadblock. Right. It's a barrier to entry for the young hustler. I don't want the trust fund baby. I want the kid that knows what it's like to be hungry. Mm-hmm. And I want them because I think a good 20, 30 year profitable relationship, business partnership with that person will produce way more income than a couple of trust fund babies giving me a big check in the beginning. Right. I had a couple of franchise companies reach out to me this last year because a bunch of my competitors use them to go find these rich people to franchise their businesses. I'm like, no, this is an owner operator business. My last name's on the door. I take it seriously. Absolutely. I'm not going to raise my franchise fee to $60,000 just so you can get a bigger check. No, I'm going exactly the opposite. I'm going to lower it, and they all think I'm insane. And I'm okay. People always.
Well, how do you feel when you do that? Like when you just told me, how do you feel when you can help that guy that's got that work ethic?
That is, it's like the next level of me being able to help people get healthy in the store. I get to help somebody experience the same level of euphoric, nature that I get from owning my own business. I get to see them do it. Right. And this kid even told me, because I wanted to start my own business since I was 15 years old, blah, 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 went and listed it. I'm like, I'll do whatever I can. I just had to have a guy in Ankeny, Matt, just open up his first Rexia store. Awesome. Great guy, worked in these different jobs. And finally was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm like, sweet, let's do it. And I helped him find the whole thing from top to bottom. A guy's about to open one in Dallas. I'm like, so cool. Because let's understand, if you live in Nebraska, any chance to get out of here in the winter is good. Yeah. But helping him, and I'm like, whatever we got to do. And they're just finding out now that I just lowered their franchise fee before they even paid it. I didn't have to tell them. Right. I just lowered it $10,000. And it's why? Because I've got a financially position where I can afford to do it and still pay for the travel I need to pay. But I want to see other people take their destiny in their hands, and I want to spread that as much as possible.
That's that control you have.
It's awesome. And if I can pay it forward, because the reason why I didn't start Rexy's at 23, because I had no damn money. Mm-hmm. I was broke. I was broke. I was couching it. I was sleeping on Mike's couch. Oh man, and Tony Gramazio's couch for like 2 months before I moved up to Sioux Falls and took my job. I was broke as shit, selling stuff on Craigslist. And in the paper.
You got to do what you got to do,
garage sailing it. And I was broke. I didn't have no money, and nobody was going to give me a chance to start a store. No. And so I had to go work for 6 or 7 years. And I'm glad I got that experience. Don't get me wrong. But if people could take that destiny in their hands at a young age and just run with it.
Having that control, man.
I mean, imagine what they could build by the time they're our age.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've learned a lot from Chuck, who's my business partner and owns the software, Touch and Tan software. And I've worked with him from we're talking about, I was in the food and beverage business. I was in the bar business for 10 years. And I mean, just going from clubs and having all those people. And I mean, it was a different scenery, but learning from that, because it was a restaurant business. And then I went in the restaurant business after that. You learn, you pick up things. And I mean, you're working with entrepreneurs that own those businesses. You watch their moves, you watch how they do it, you watch how they interact. And I mean, you kind of, for me, being a young, I mean, that's how I got where I am, being a young kind of protege, little grasshopper, you know.
Young grasshopper.
Yeah, right. And you learn, you pick things up, but that's who I wanted to be around. You know, I didn't want to work at a McDonald's. And I mean, not saying there's anything wrong working with McDonald's, but it just wasn't for me, you know, as a person. And like for me, going back to like, what you were saying about, you know, sometimes there is no handbook for entrepreneur. No. You just got to experience it. I mean, for me, I hang out with entrepreneurs. You know, I mean, I get my haircut from an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
And we bounce things off each other. It's like, what are you doing for marketing? What are you doing for this? And it might be a totally different industry, but you know what? There's a lot of similarities, a lot of likes, a lot of ideas.
So it was like last year. It was a year and a half, 2 years ago. You and I went out, got a cigar down at the Safari Club, whatever.
Dude, I think it's probably about 2 years ago.
Before
you were married.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm in business for 6-7 years at this point, and I'm considered by most people to do pretty damn well.
Right.
And so Mike Giovanni says here, this is why you need good friends who are entrepreneurs in your corner. He's like, so Mike said, you know what you need to do is your damn clothing sucks. You need to do this, that, and the other thing. And you should market it like this, and you should do that. And I come out of this thing being like, one, humbled, and two, excited because now I got a new plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what y'all need in your corner. Like the reason, like so my daughter came down a year ago before she graduated high school with the business plan at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Awesome. This is what I want to do. Jacked up, excited. I didn't sleep all night. I was so pumped up for it. I started writing stuff down for myself. I'm like, I need to do this, that, and the other thing. And I think that's the thing. Surround yourself with this like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Because other people's attitudes can either be dynamite for what you're doing, or it can be a disease for what you're doing.
Oh man!
So you got to watch who you surround yourself with. If you're around a bunch of naysayers, yes, it's very fun when you have that level of success, being like, "Suck it," you know, a scoreboard. But at the same point, they can bring you down so incredibly bad.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and I mean it's like a cancer too. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it spreads. But I mean, for me, surrounding myself, I mean, even with you, I mean, take that clothing company. I wish I had that ability to do that for what I'm doing, but it's just, I'm not going to sell that. I mean, you own gyms and nutrition. I mean, you're a walking billboard with it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember sitting down. We had a cigar. I go, dude, what are you doing? And you're like, what? I was like, get your swag going. I go, that's walking advertisement all day. You have multiple locations. You're all over the country. I go, start selling that. That's a whole different business. And you just kind of looked at me. You're like, well, you know, I throw shirts at people and, you know, they come spend money on my people. He goes, I want to take care of people. I'm like, I understand that, but you can get a whole new workout gear and this. And I mean, you took off with it, which is awesome, and you do quality stuff too.
And it's I don't know, but I think we constantly need to audit ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
ego is the biggest destructor to any entrepreneur that there is.
Well, you get a little success.
The second you consider yourself an expert in anything, you quit learning shit.
For sure.
And that's the biggest issue we're going to face with anyone. Is the second you quit learning, you think you got it figured out. The market changes on a daily basis. Technology, social media, all of it. The game is nonstop changing. So I never consider myself an expert in anything. I'm constantly a student.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that's the thing. So when you go, hey, get more swag. It's walking advertisement. Make some scratch on that.
Right.
And did it in your Mike Giovanni cigar hanging out of your mouth way. I was like, all right, that's a good shit plan, you know?
And I mean, to get back, when I hang out with my entrepreneurial friends, I mean, clean finish, Timmy Evans. That's one of my boys. Oh, yeah. I mean, just how that guy picks up business and works every single day and works his butt off. I mean, I got a side hustle with that guy every once in a while when he needs help and this. And I mean, he's all over Nebraska. I mean, he goes, I've been to Fall City with him, to Lincoln, this, that, and the other thing. But watching that guy, and he has a window clean business. Yeah. I mean, it's just his ideas like, hey man, you need to start doing this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you don't know anything about tanning. It's like, it's almost an outsider looking in. And
it's good though.
Right.
It's good to have a fresh set of eyes.
Absolutely. So. And then my other entrepreneur friends, I mean, again, with the ego, it's just like, well, what about this? What about that? And just bouncing ideas off. It's amazing how much you feed in that person that has the ego that's better than you, that, oh, I have this, I own that, and I have this, and I own that, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and just is better than that. you know, you're not doing anything for me. I'm not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not getting good ideas from you. You're not getting good ideas of me. You know,
Yeah,
we can be
exactly.
friends and that's cool, but
Yeah.
it's just like, I want to surround somebody
When
where
you're an entrepreneur,
right.
your business is your life.
It's your life.
It's your life.
I mean, you're trying to better it every second because the market does change.
yeah.
It changes in hours, minutes.
And that's, we, I think the same thing as when people like think there's some sort of marketing dynamite thing. One thing is going to happen. I'm going to put all my money into this. No.
Right.
When you're a small business, one, you usually don't have a budget for shit. So,
I mean,
pay dads,
hopefully
probably
you are.
not going to happen.
Right.
Mailers, probably not going to happen.
Maybe when you're not starting out, yeah.
When you first start out, so Mike's I'll just go back one last old school story before we finish up. So Mike opens up the tanning salon. He's open for about a month. He calls me up, Rexy's, we're going to go market tonight. Don't worry, Sarah's driving us around. I go, what are we doing? We're passing out tanning cards at bars. Okay.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? There's the thing. I mean, there's two
a
good
lot
reasons.
of singles at the bars trying to look good. And so and the thing is, it's a free pass card. You get to have that relationship. You get in a very personal setting where you can shake a hand, and we're likable people. And we talk a lot, especially when we're drinking.
Right.
So because then we're cramming our.
I mean,
that's our element.
Yeah,
we used to work at a
there.
bar. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So we went around to every bar in pretty much all of West Omaha, passing out tanning cards for about 6 hours. The problem was the very first bar we went to, we ran into a buddy of ours we played football with in college who wanted to buy shots. So by the end of the night, I'm not sure what English was coming out of our mouth, but there were a lot of tanning one-day pass cards getting passed out. But it did. That handshake business into this day.
And I got a lot of business from that. But, we marketed that. I mean, it was a good idea to market it, just to go to every bar. But another thing is I'm selling 24-hour access tanning.
Yeah.
So think of the bar business. What time do they get off at bars?
Yeah.
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Nebraska now. So 2:00 in the morning, they're not going to go home and go right to bed because you're wired usually, or this, that, and the other thing, food, beverage, whatever it is. They can go tanning right now and not be bothered because they're probably working at 6, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock when I close, or don't have staff there. It's like, this is my time. This is convenient for me. This is when I'm going to do it. So all those people, the waitresses, bartenders, owners, whatever it is, it's convenient for them. And I mean, we got to hang out a little bit. And
we got to hang out, market a little bit. Awesome. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
having
it.
me. I appreciate you.
So we took it back to homeless Tim, Mike and Tim breaking into the computer lab to where we are now. And
absolutely.
It's awesome to watch you do what you've done. It's been amazing that. We talked on the phone a couple weeks ago. Oh yeah, hey, I own this much percent. Wow, when did that happen? It's just, we're in Columbus now. I'm like, good God, I love watching it, man. I just love watching entrepreneurs do their thing and expanding and just, when somebody has the hustle like you do, watching what you can do even over the next 5 to 10 years is gonna be awesome.
No days off, man.
No days off. All right, brother. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Went from a boy to a man. Ay, every day been making plans. Ay, they don't really understand.
So the biggest problem I have with being a father of 6 kids is finding something they can eat that I can eat that's not going to make me fatter. So I like Optimal Performance Popcorn because it has next to no fat. It's got 6 to 7 grams of protein, healthy amount of carbohydrates. I don't mind if my 6-year-old eats it, and my stomach doesn't mind if I eat it. So it's nice to have it around. It's easy, and I have a sweet tooth. It tastes great and it's healthy. That's kind of a win-win as far as I see it.
Stacking.